Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be doing an art journal page using some of those art prompt cards that I pulled. And the first prompt I'm doing is using wrapping paper, and this wrapping paper was sent to me and she got it from Dollar Tree. And I am using Americana Neon Yellow paint. I haven't used a lot of my stuff in quite a long time, and that paint was kind of thick, so that's why you see me use a popsicle stick and a hotel key card to push the paint around. And the next prompt I used is Emboss Resist. And I'm looking through some of my Viva Las Vegas stamps that I use a lot. And I pulled out, pulled out 3. And that clear embossing pad is quite old. I'm surprised it still has any juice in it still. And the first stamp I used is a row of hexagons, and the embossing powder I use is clear ultra thick embossing powder from Ranger. It's one of the only ones I have. I also have the black ultra thick. I used to have a ton of embossing powders way back in the day, but I stopped using them, so I got rid of them all years ago. And there is a piece of tape, medical tape, in the middle to cover my address, so the texture is going to be a little bit different there. And the next stamp I used is a row of circles. And I thought getting rid of the embossing powder after using it was going to be a lot harder than it actually was. I mean, the excess embossing powder. And now I'm using Americana Lamp Black craft paint. It did dull down the embossing that I did, but you can see it a little bit better. Made it more matte. And this is a quick page, but I think it took over an hour, a little over an hour to finish. And I'm tearing that piece of wrapping paper into thinner strips and gluing it down. And I'm just using light glue. Now I'm using the third stamp that I pulled out, and it's circles with some writing inside those circles. The other prompt that I pulled was using corrugate. That's why I keep moving that corrugate around. And the reason for this journal page, I am coloring a page from the Handbags coloring book from Studio Bye Bye, or Bye Bye Studio. I got this book sent to me for free for reviewing purposes. I do have a video up where I go through the book, giving my little initial thoughts on it, and I will post that link in the description below. And coloring that page, I am using Crayola crayons in neon that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and of course I'm using the pinks, and I'm using the lighter of the pink to color the bag. And the bag, I'm going to mess up the name, I apologize. Veneta, a padded cassette bag. The padded cassette bag is a square model that made from pillowy woven Napa leather, giving it a unique and puffy look. The minimalistic clutch was every fashionista's dream in 2019. When I did the initial flip through of the video, when I saw this one, it screamed neon to me. That's the initial idea for this page. So now I'm going with the darker pink and shading through the woven parts and around the chain of the bag. I am not the world's best colorist, and I don't shade too often unless it needs it, and this kind of needed it to me. The paper is thin, so if you want to use marker or watercolor, I will put a paper in behind the page. I did that anyway when I was coloring this, just because. And for the chain, I'm using a silver color pencil. But the paper did take the crayon nicely, I will have to say. I was initially going to use like the Vaseline that I used to smooth out the crayon, but I decided not to do that. And I'm cutting out that purse, which I should have edited out, but it doesn't take that long. Initially I was going to do it sideways, but because I wanted the chain, the whole thing in there, but I just cut off part of the chain because I didn't like how it looked sideways. So I did pause the, or stop the video when I went to look for a quote. The initial prompt was to use a song lyric, and I didn't feel the need for a song lyric. I wanted a quote about fashion or a bag, considering I'm using a purse for the focal image. So I'm gluing down the purse. So once I found a couple quotes, I put them in, copy and pasted them in Google Docs and print them out. And the one I decided to use is A Girl Should Be Two Things, Classy and Fabulous, by Coco Chanel. I know that's not a Chanel bag, but I trimmed the corrugate, which is from Canvas Corp. And I got out 2 other neon color paints from Americana. This is the neon green, and I used the neon blue. And I already had white craft paint on there from another, when I used it as a mark maker for another page. The glue bottle got plugged up, so I've been trying to unclog it with a paper clip, because that usually works. And I gave up and unscrewed the top to get the glue, so I didn't have time for that. And I'm putting her name underneath that quote. And I went around the edges of that corrugate once I trimmed it a little bit more better with a silver craft paint that I picked up at Target in the dollar spot. And I'm using Aleene's Tacky to glue that down. And in a few minutes you'll see pictures of the journal page up close. And that's it for the page. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.